Howard Waters, the advancement director, who's been instrumental in helping us also, but especially figured out this evening. And Ms. King is back as well to help with moving the slides and doing all the good things. We'll talk basically about just SSP norms, expectations, reminders, the bell schedule, and just some anecdotes on why we do things the way that we do here. And we'll get started in just a minute when they're ready. So thank you all for coming. We have a handful of people also on the Zoom or Google Meet, I should say, attending via the computer. All right, so I'll mention this when we get to the slide, but our building is open from 7:30 in the morning until I would say 8:25. As I'll tell the kids, being early on time, they should be in the building by 8:25. And like clockwork at 8:30, when that bell rings, we start every day with prayer. So I'd ask you to stand for just a minute as we start all things at SFPB with prayer again this evening. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the gift of our school in the new school year. We ask you to bless all our students, families, faculty, and staff of St. Peter Paul High School, and all those who make this school possible. Guide us to know you and to love you and knowing and loving each other. Bless our time this evening as we prepare for this new school year through Christ our Lord. Amen. Saints Peter and Paul, pray for us. Jesus, live in our hearts forever. Amen. Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Thank you. So that is the prayer that we will recite again at 8:30 on the dot. All students are expected to be at morning meeting at that time. And so in the morning when students come in, we have students kind of take care of their own business on this college preparatory campus. You'll find students in study groups in the cafeteria reading or working together quietly. You might find some student athletes before a basketball game up, give them some foul shots in the morning to then change into their school uniforms to get ready for the day. I know a couple of lacrosse student athletes that never hesitate to go see their math teachers and advocate for themselves by getting a little extra help in the mornings. But again, we don't take this for granted. By 8:30, we are all together every day, intentionally building community. That's the first thing we do. You will see me and my administrative team outside, front and center, for pickup and drop off, which we'll get to in a minute. But again, we want to emphasize building community, instilling our values and mission that we're going to go over in a minute here in the school every single day, not have kids rushing to school worried about the first thing in their day being math or English or science or whatever it is. We want to focus on our faith first, building community first, and then we'll go from there into academics. Thank you, Mr. Chung. You can hit the slide. All right, so our mission, just take a look at that for a minute. To educate the mind, strengthen the body, and nurture the spirit, rich in Catholic tradition. Our school's held this mission and statements is that in 1958, I believe the building was constructed down the road. We've been on this campus now for 4 graduating classes, and again, in a Catholic to transform students who are what I would call fortunate of graduate skills. When they leave our building, we want our kids to be critical thinkers, to be creative, to collaborate, to problem solve, and to have a global mindset. So we will refer to our mission in morning meetings together from 8:30 to 8:45 on a regular basis. We give something each month called Save a Salute, where we try to find kids, catch kids doing good, and teachers write them citations, or the administrators for that matter, write them a nice citation for living out the school mission. We give them little pins and celebrate that every Friday at the end of each month. Additionally, I'll go over, in addition to our mission, we also have a focus from the diocese that we also use to kind of exemplify virtues. We used the Beatitudes in the past. We'll show you the new ones in a minute here. But with those two things combined, we're really trying to use our mission and use our Catholic and Christian virtues to show kids that we're demonstrating them on a regular basis throughout the building. Mr. Chung, go ahead. Yeah. Take a look here at some learning targets. These are a regular part of what we're expected to do here at St. Peter and Paul, giving students specific daily objectives in what I would call simple kid-friendly language. So for today, you can just quickly look, I made an example one here, and then I also have a couple of teacher examples from some of our veteran teachers in the building that I asked them to submit just for this presentation. So I will be able to identify the new team members at SSPP and their roles at St. Peter and Paul, familiarize myself with the mission, our norms, update school policies and routines to begin the 2025-2026 school year, and important faith formation updates from the diocese, which is in Wilmington, Delaware. We'll all be headed as a faculty up there tomorrow at St. Mark's High School for PD. And along with that, now we have success criteria listed underneath that. So how do you know when you've met the learning objective or the learning target if you can complete the success criteria? And again, I'll show you a literacy and a math example of this in a little bit that actual teachers submitted from their classroom lesson plan. So your kids can get used to seeing these in a variety of mediums. One of the history teachers I know creates all his learning targets by unit and puts large posters in the classroom. One of the math teachers has a specific spot on the whiteboard that the learning target gets adjusted on a daily basis. We expect kids to know what they're learning the second they come into those classrooms throughout the school day. Mr. Chung, go ahead. Okay, so just a couple of examples here from the classroom. Students will be able to appreciate the form and the meaning of the classroom Greek strategies. And then the teacher gave them specific success criteria from that day's lesson on what Oedipus and the King of Sophocles to identify the following. I'll let you quickly look there. On the bottom, there's a different learning target again that you can look at regarding math and absolute value equation. So the teachers will create these on a daily basis. Certainly one learning target could be used for a couple of lessons in a row, but these are things that your kids should be used to completing. And I always told my students to write down my learning targets and then refer back to them when I was a teacher, as almost like a study guide to summarize all the key factors and concepts and standards throughout that unit. Go ahead, Mr. Chairman. Just to take a look at our administrative team, we wear a variety of hats, but I myself am the principal. Mr. Philip Chung, who's in the back right now, is our wonderful campus minister, has really helped our school grow and thrive and growing in faith. Our school, as you know, is about 52% Catholic, 48% not Catholic. But we use the values and teachings and the sacrifice of Christ, no matter who the student is, to grow and build character, the monthly virtues, etc. Mr. Chung does a wonderful job of growing kids in faith, conferencing with kids. Every single day, we get a little bit of scripture, a little bit of prayer to start our day, as I mentioned in our morning meeting, along with end-of-month Eucharistic adorations and talks about faith. Certainly our monthly masses over at the church, which I'll talk about when we get to uniforms. That's something we do every month. Usually they're at 8:30 in the morning. We have Mr. DJ Davis, who's outside right now in his second year as our wonderful athletic director, brought a lot of passion, energy, enthusiasm, started athlete of the month stuff. Mr. Davis is currently outside working the soccer scrimmage. He'll be inside when this concludes if there is time. Ms. Christy King, who's at the front here, is our director of college guidance and counseling. Please consult her with any questions you have on schedules and whatnot. But she did a great job this summer helping kids out left and right, answering parent requests, just making sure that we do the best job that we can to find the right academic fit in this small learning environment. We have 19 full-time teachers and about 25 total staff members on our high school units. Ms. Lisa Bailiff is our admin assistant in the front. When we get to things on like attendance and whatnot, she's the person you're going to want to contact, and certainly CC myself as well if you have absences and whatnot. When you call the school, she'll be the first person that answers the phone typically. So get to know Ms. Bailiff well. She also takes care of the parking pass stuff right now. Ms. Jennifer Green is in her second year as our learning specialist. We were able to grow, and part of our middle stage accreditation process, which I'll get into here, involved minor accommodations in a college preparatory setting. So we're able to help kids that have some learning differences with minor accommodations such as test chunking, a quiet environment to take a test in, collaborating with teachers to slightly modify assignments and have kids have the opportunity to access the curriculum in the same ways and still thrive here despite having some learning accommodations that they need. Ms. Green did a great job of that. And Ms. Lynette Howard-Waters, who's in the front here as well. Thrilled to have her as our new director of advancement. She's been on the ground running all summer, helping us out with marketing and refurbishing the website to make it look more professional and a variety of other tasks. So she's been instrumental in helping me this summer to really start to grow the building and focus on principal priorities while she takes care of the marketing and other great things that she does. So welcome, Ms. Howard-Waters, when you see her. Thank you, Mr. Chung. New teacher, okay? Ms. Barbara Johnson, really happy to have as our chemistry and algebra 2 teacher. She comes with decades of experience in the field. Just interviewing her, we can listen to her forever. talk about her field experiences and how she's going to relate those directly into the craft classroom. I think those real world connections will be something that our students are going to gravitate towards. We are thrilled to have her join both our science and math department. Looking forward this year, and I just mentioned this Power Wars. All right, communication for SSPB. First thing you need to know, we send all our messaging directly through PowerSchool for something called Bright Arrow Communications. So when you enrolled in FAFSA and all the things that you put in, whatever email went into that system, that is the email that's automatically going to get tagged in and sent to Bright Arrow messages. So things like, and I try to over communicate as much as I can. I think I sent 3 or 4 messages of reminders about this event with some links. Each week I will send at least on Friday a Friday update via Bright Arrow. And then if you look at the next one, we have an interactive, really nice, engaging, professional looking application called S'more, which is where we create our school newsletters. There's a spot with information from our counseling corner. Myself, each week I'll write a little speech in there. We have Saber happenings with future event dates listed. Please get in the habit on a bi-weekly basis. You'll get a nice newsletter. And in between those on Fridays, I will send an email with notifications as well. Just looking forward to the next week, maybe a wrap up of things that happened on campus that week prior. But again, make sure that you're getting it to the right email to receive those Bright Arrow messages. Those can go to the whole school. I can send them to just students if it's applicable for something in the building. It often goes to parents and students. I can click on grade 9 and say grade 9 specific, 10, 11, and 12, etc. So it's a nice messaging system that works in conjunction with PowerSchool. We also have a Facebook page, several Instagram handles. I have myself, Saber Principal Wilson. We have an SSPP Sabers one. We have a Saber Athletics one. And then we also have our website, which includes the parish, the elementary school, and the high school. The website's in the process of being refurbished, so things you can look forward to. An easier spot to see the live national calendar, which is our Google Calendar, so any updates will go right to the website. A professional looking teacher faculty page is something we're in the works of building. We're working with our marketing department to do videos to really showcase our students and all their talents and kind of give a glimpse of mind, body, and spirit, living the mission at St. Peter and Paul. So we'll get some new engaging videos up with footage from last spring and this fall that we're going to film soon. What else? Miss Power Waters on the website. There's a bunch of things we're doing. A banner to sign up for prospective student RSVPs to visit the campus. A lot of shadow days, tours,
alumni, all that.
Alumni connections. Yeah. So we're working as we speak on making that website better and better and refining over time. And then Saber Athletics also has its own separate page. So any information that you need about the required forms to participate in winter sports here, which will be here before we know it as our spring sports kick off now. There's a team store built into that. All the schedules are on there if you want to check game time. So that is at sabersports.com. And of course, I will Bright Arrow this whole presentation out after I'm done. Okay. Mr. Chung, I think we're good. All right, expectations for success, okay? And this is part of what I've kind of been prioritized coming in, and this would be my 3rd year as a principal here, as you mentioned. Students that are learning experiences, our professional development's connected to it. I want dynamic classrooms that follow bell-to-bell instruction. So a lot of times what you see our effective teachers do is a brief bit of modeling, I do, then they turn it over to students maybe with some guided practice we do together, and then step them off to do the hard work independently, check and monitor. We're trying to move away from lecture 24/7, 365. Some of that's certainly good at certain points in the year, but creating engaging lessons that make the students do the hard work, students that are learning experience. You know, one of the things I think in this building, and part of that is learning targets, you can see there as well, which I went over, so daily objectives, just building positive relationships. In this school, I can't talk about it enough. We have very selfless, dedicated, kind teachers. They are willing to help. And this is something that I'll harp on in morning meetings for the first week of school throughout the first quarter, especially for freshmen. The key is for kids to advocate for their own learning. If our kids approach our teachers and kindly have a conversation, our compassionate teachers will help before school, after school. I see it happening every day. So let alone giving up time to coach sports, run clubs, putting on a lot of different hats. Teachers are always willing to help me with tech stuff here, you name it. I feel like our building does a really good job intentionally building relationships, and part of that is, again, how we start every single day. Everyone comes in all together. The faculty are expected to be here, and they are every day. Once we do prayer and the pledge, everyone stands proudly to the Pledge of Allegiance every single day here. Not something we take for granted. There's opportunities for not only faculty to share leadership experiences, like Ms. Goslin gets up, our wonderful art teacher, talks about the Art Honor Society and a new initiative or a contest coming up. Ms. Westerfield runs our ACE Engineering Club. She'll talk about the next ACE meeting and community members who are going to come in the engineering field to teach our kids after school, a part of that club. Students will then come up and take on leadership responsibilities and are expected to share their community within the school success. And so even last year, we had some freshmen coming up for hockey and saying, hey, like last night we went on the road to the Napa. It was a tough game. We won it overtime 3-2. So-and-so had 2 goals and 1 assist. Please come out to Talbot Ice Rink on Friday. We play Easton at home at 8 o'clock. And everyone's going to give some an applause. And then maybe the women's basketball team captain comes up and she sings and speaks in front of the entire school as well. So we give kids the opportunity to work on building that community every single day to start the day. Effective use of instructional time. One of the things we're going to focus on this year is getting rid of all our unexcused parties. So punctuality in class is certainly important. As your students will soon find out in one quick square, they've already seen the building anyway, but you could really do 2 laps and still make it to any classroom in the building on time. So we certainly expect kids to be in the classroom when the bell rings. One of the conversations I have regarding punctuality, if there's like a line at the bathroom, let's say, go talk to your teacher, communicate, let them know that you're going to pop in, you're here, then go to the bathroom so you're not 4 minutes late to class. But again, just advocating, communicating with teachers, and we expect to have bell-to-bell instruction on a regular basis. You'll see our bell schedule in a second. We are not block scheduled, so we see our teachers every day for about 45 minutes. Timely reflection and student performance. We first expect a variety of assessment types that you'll see in PowerSchool, which I'll go over in a minute here, the difference between PowerSchool and Schoology. But you should see a minimum of 1 grade per week posted in PowerSchool to update grades. Most teachers put more than 1 a week, to be honest. If you see something called 4-minute assessments, those are small stakes assignments, usually kind of connected to the learning target and objectives for that day to assess if the kids have mastered that objective. Homework, small stakes, of course, and then summative assessments would be your end of unit test, major point value assignments, in addition to projects as well. So again, I can't encourage this enough. The students first to be checking PowerSchool and talking to my upperclassmen at least twice a week is something that upperclassmen who have thrived here have recommended. If not 3 to 4 times a week, parents as well. There are unique directions to get into PowerSchool that each of you will get. Please get into PowerSchool, check those. You should see weekly grades and input into PowerSchool to assess your student learning and mastery of content. Thank you, Mr. Chung. All right, so in the morning, as I mentioned, there's a little bit of freedom from what 8th graders in particular are used to, but kids are all over campus taking care of their own business, whether that's studying, seeing teachers, etc. We expect by 7:25, really should be in this auditorium. So by 8:25. So when the 8:30 bell rings, we're ready to start prayer and be punctual with our time. Mr. Chung begins that every day. When you come in, you do the loop-de-loop down the access road and around the statue, go through what many schools, I guess, call the kiss and ride line. That is the drop off in the morning. So you'll pull up from the left side of the building, across the building and drop off, and then drive away. In the afternoon, parents wait for pickup in the right lot, kind of across in between the parish and the school. And I will be outside, and one of the administrative members will be outside to guide students along the crosswalks, across the street, directly to the parking lot. So please abide by that with our morning expectations and an afternoon pickup. Public transportation, again, I'm going to send this out, but we do have public transportation that runs to the elementary campus from a variety of places. From there, Coach Gary Gould, who runs our basketball program and helps us with a variety of things in the building, he runs what we'll call a Saver Bus from the elementary campus over to us to get those kids from the elementary campus to the high school campus, and they're here just about every day by about 8:20. Please note that if we have changes in schedule, late start days, early dismissal, and I'll show you those bell schedules in a minute. The Saber Transportation and Public Transport does not run with that. It follows the elementary school's calendar and whatnot, so sometimes that transportation is not available when there's a change in schedule. With no extracurriculars, if we have nobody in the building, students should be out of the building. I would say around the time the office closes by 3:30, but certainly by 4 o'clock. To be honest, usually there is a lot going on this campus, and there's teachers and coaches around, but we found that around like midterm times and the end of the school year, we had students sometimes here till 4:45, 5 o'clock, and that means an adult has to stay be visible and present and whatnot until that time. So please, when there's no extracurriculars, make sure that students are getting picked up around the time that the office closes. Mr. Chung. All right, the student dress code. I'll talk through this a little bit. We have a warm weather uniform and a cold weather uniform. To put it simply, the warm weathers, generally speaking, will run the first quarter and the fourth quarter. The cold weather uniform will run in the 2 middle quarters when it's colder out. This is one of the things we're going to harp on here too, just to refine what we're doing and make our building better. I want to refine the dress code, clean it up a little bit, and follow through on enforcement and consistency. For the summer uniforms, there are polos, whether they be blue or white, the school logo. A lot of the gentlemen wear shorts, but they can wear pants. And to emphasize, we're going to go with leather dress shoes this year. If they have a tie and a back, and they're not slip-on clog type footwear, they're fine for school. Some students certainly require an accommodation due to arch supports or whatever, like a different kind of shoe. In years past, they wore pretty much whatever shoes they wanted, but I didn't love the idea of having like beat up Adidas or Nike sneakers with our formal uniforms. So I would request that if you do need an alternate footwear, please make sure it's leather with a thicker sole, like a sneaker, but not a Nike running shoe or an Adidas fashion, something along those lines. They should still be professional looking leather sneakers. A lot of the kids wear these, like a Sperry Topsider, which are great with laces. But again, we want to go away from Uggs or any slip-on type shoes with backs that aren't the back of the shoe, they kind of fold down. So
proper footwear. Ask Mr. Chung to click.
Mr. Chung, if you can click on the proper footwear real quick. There's some examples here. Thank you. So like those are directly from the Flint O'Hara site when you will get the uniforms. A lot of kids wear other shoes. If it's something like this, there are laces at the back, so that'd be fine, but just make sure it's not a slip-on shoe with no laces, and certainly not suede. Make sure they're leather shoes. Go ahead, John. Yeah. If you need a thicker sole or something, again, that would be okay. But again, no Nike tennis shoes or running shoes, whatever you want to call them, will be permitted this year. In addition to that, our skirt length policy is 3 inches. So please check, if you can check your daughter's skirt length as they go out the door, that's another thing we're going to harp on. Regarding the enforcement of the dress code, and let me just finish first off there. So I talked about the summer, right? The polos. When we go to the winter or the warmer, the colder weather gear, an Oxford button down replaces the polo. Shorts are prohibited. All the gentlemen wear pants. Most of the girls continue to wear the skirts. They also could wear pants. And again, we'll continue with the leather dress shoes. Anything else on uniforms?
For 3/4 of.
Yeah, so a couple questions that come up on the quarter zip versus the blazer, okay? When we have what we call our mass uniform attire, mass is over there. If we have an assembly, we might tell kids to wear their mass attire. They are required to wear the school blazer in navy blue with a big school crest on the chest. That is for masses specifically. They can certainly wear that blazer in the cold weather over the Oxford anytime they want. Some kids wear that blazer all the time. A lot of kids, although it wouldn't technically be required when it is cold, wear the school crested navy quarter zip, logo on the chest, quarter zip, zip up, all navy. I would encourage you to get that as well, just for comfort. There are select few students that don't wear the quarter zip, they always wear the blazer, but again, most kids will wear the quarter zip. Ties for the gentlemen with the Oxfords for the warm weather gear. There are school logo ties through the Flint O'Hara stuff directly. Seniors have the privilege to wear whatever the tie they want. So they can dress up differently as far as the tie goes, but all of them do wear ties with the winter gear. Anything else I need to hit on that before I talk about enforcement? No. So to enforce the dress code, okay, we will have checks in the morning prior to the morning meeting as students funnel in, and certainly we'll be observing throughout the day. We're going to go to a 3 demerit threshold system for uniforms. So if a student makes an honest mistake and forgets to wear their tie to school that day, it happens. They'll get 1 demerit, which isn't on their records. It's not attached to Power School or anything. It's just tracked in the system. When you hit the 3 demerit threshold, there's some examples you can look at. After 3 demerits in a semester, they will receive a detention for that 3rd demerit. And then a continued dress code infraction will receive a detention each time following that up to the end of the semester. Detentions will run on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and students are expected to be at that detention the very next Tuesday or Thursday that there is. So if you get your 3rd demerit on Monday, you can't schedule yourself for the Thursday detention and be Tuesday's detention. So uniform infractions, again, will follow that. As far as tardiness, unexcused tardy to school, in a similar fashion, it'll be a 5 threshold limit. If you get 4, once you hit, we'll issue a detention. And then again, Tuesday, Thursday detentions following. Once the semester hits, our class schedule is changed. You get a fresh start of the semester, marked back to 0. But again, a real emphasis this year will be on having the uniform correctly, having the right shoes, especially, and the 3-inch length from the knee for the skirts. As a general rule of thumb for the diocese, if young ladies put their arms down, they should be able to touch cloth, not their legs. So that's an easy check to see if the skirts are about the right length. Anything else I can talk about? All right. So as I talked about with the formal mass attire each month, we have mass days that are at the church. So you can kind of quickly look at what I just talked about there, but you're required to have that blazer. One thing that you could really help us out at home with, we have had logistical nightmares related to the blazers. Kids get out of the mass, and I understand if it's hot, of course, they're going to take them off. They're not taking very good care of their blazers, and we find them all over the school. And then it's really hard to tell whose blazer is who because they all look the same, and some of them are in similar sizes. So it becomes a little bit of a headache for us. You can emphasize taking care of that blazer, make sure it goes home, doesn't sit around unattended or in the cafeteria for a week. That'd be wonderful. And we will, of course, the kids will get reminded of not only the protocol for how they represent the school when we go to Nashville for the parish, but just being extra timely on those days and making sure we're here early and we enter the church reverently and quiet and all those good things. We will certainly send out bright arrows to remind you all of that, help us out in that respect with uniforms, but also the kids will get reminded on a daily basis leading up to Mass for several days in the morning meetings time. Go ahead, Mr. Jones. Parking permits are already being issued. Seniors go first, and then junior remaining seniors by August, what is that, 15th, we're already past that. All remaining students are beginning to be assigned spots on August 20th, up soon. Just make sure you have to have your license to get the parking pass, along with a copy of vehicle registration and a $75 payment cash and check. Kids did a great job of this last year, different from the year prior. We've encouraged or enforced this really. If your son or daughter drives, please make sure they just park in their assigned spot for safety. So if you do have to check stuff outside, meaning who's parked where and whatnot, they should be parking in the spot that's assigned and on the tag that they get to put in the mirror, and keep the tags out visible while they're on campus at the very least. Go ahead, Mr. Chung. And again, reach out to Ms. Bailiff at the main office with any questions on that. All right, you'll see here 4 bell schedules, 2 here for now and 2 on the next slide. They're kind of our major bell schedules. We have minor adjustments for other campus activities. You'll notice at the top that you see an A, a B, and a C day schedule. There's an intentional reason for that, and it really helps us out academically. With a lot of our games being across the bridge, particularly for our gentlemen in the MIAA conference, we might have a trip to go to Loyola Blakefield or St. Paul's or Calvert Hall or wherever it is, and our kids might leave school on that game day at about 1 o'clock, 1:30, let's say. Again, advocating for your own learning is huge in this high school campus. Can't encourage that enough. We'll continue to remind kids and reinforce that and help them when they need that to have those conversations with teachers. But if we leave at, let's say, 1:15, then you would have to check in with the teachers ahead of time for these 2 classes at the end of the day. And we certainly don't want kids continuing all season long to miss the same period 7 and 8 every time they have an away game. So you'll see that between an A and B and a C day, the schedule shifts intentionally. And I also like it, just as a teacher, I always found that, if I had 3 AP classes, by the time I got to the one that was at 2:10, the kids obviously out of energy a little bit, not checked out completely, certainly, but it just was a different experience than the morning class that we came in fresh to take that AP course something on. So I like the fact that our kids see their teachers at different times of the day, depending on if it's an A and B or a C day, and we will let them know which day it is and remind them that the year started in morning meetings. Everyone eats lunch together on a regular day during the 5th period block, which is from 12 to 12:30, which will be supervised by the administrator. You can just kind of see there how the bell schedule fluctuates every day. The first day is in chronological order, and then it changes for a B and C day. On our math schedule days, that's the schedule we'll follow, and certainly we want kids probably at the church by 8:20, seated and quiet in their math uniform. If time allows, we'll come back here and have our own meeting until that 9:34 bell. We'll go to the next class of the day and follow that amended schedule. Go ahead, Mr. Chung. All right, early dismissal days. Those are built in throughout the master calendar, strategically, sometimes around holiday weekends. I just kind of let you take a look at that. The 2-hour delay schedule would specifically apply to days where we have middle stage process meetings. So I'll share that in a few slides. Middle stage is our accreditation process that we're making great progress on. There are different committees of stakeholders that meet. Each committee has parent stakeholders, an alumni stakeholder, a few student representatives, and then the teachers. Our whole faculty are divided up into the different committees, which I'll share with you in just a minute. That's predominantly what our 2-hour delay schedules are made for, is to have those accreditation community meetings. A full day absence, you need to be in the 4th period of the day, or it counts as a 4-day absence. And again, advocacy, not only can you check Schoology, which I'll get into in a second, what that's all about, the online classroom portal, but also we encourage our kids to email teachers when they're out, send them a polite email, and that's good work experience. Again, building that course for every graduate. What do we want kids to leave with the skills to be successful, such as sending polite emails, right? The sooner you notify the bailiff, the better, in the event of an absence or tardy. If there are 4 or more consecutive days out, it requires a doctor's note. Documented, there's a variety of reasons what are documented absences in the handbook, but unexcused absences, examples here, if you're just not reporting to school and you show up late without a doctor's note or appointment note, that would be an excuse. Family trips not during school scheduled vacation time would be unexcused, and a variety of other reasons. You need to know that both of them count towards our credit counts. We require 26 credits for graduation, beyond the state minimum of 21 for Maryland. And you cannot miss more than 12 per semester or 24 for a full year course. That can result in a loss of the course credit. Okay? So just paying attention to punctuality this year is something we're going to enforce and refine. And just good things to know. We don't have too many problems beyond unexcused absences in the morning to what I see that I want to clean up. As I mentioned, that lunch block from 12 to 12:30, we'll send out a link for Blue Heron Catering. Most kids, to be honest, bring their lunches in. There are a few, though, that buy from Blue Heron. If you order it the night before, they will drop it off at 11:55 for your son or daughter to pick up on their way to the cafeteria and go right to lunch. So it's a nice service that we offer for Blue Heron. All right. Our focus, along with our mission, connections to mind, body, and spirit, and all things we do, is by name you are called. Last week I had the opportunity to attend the Mass with Bishop William Koenig from the Diocese of Wilmington, and he gave us a real nice homily kind of connecting our by name you are called theme this year, and talked about how, when you wake up, your name is important. You look yourself in the mirror and you see yourself, it's your name, it's what signifies you, it's what you're all about. But when we look in the mirror, as Bishop Koenig had said, we should see ourselves in our name, but we should also see a reflection of Christ in ourselves. And then to shift our mindset, once we do that as education leaders, when we get to school, we need to flip that mirror and show that same reflection to our students, show them that they should be proud of the name. I talk to the kids about sports analogies, being a former coach. We should be proud of the name on the back of our jerseys, but surely always cognizant of representative class, the name on the front of our uniforms as well. Being proud of our name, but also be proud to live a life that God and Christ would be proud of, and to share that reflection that our students should see a reflection in Christ themselves and practice key virtues that are associated with that. For the month of September, our theme is the counsel without guilt, and having conversations in morning meeting regularly about how are we pointing others in the right direction. Mr. Chung again does a great job with this Dispiritus leadership team. We have a Dispiritus leadership team for spiritual faith formation initiatives, and we have a student government association that's like our student government leadership in the building. Leadership over time. Couldn't be prouder of the work they did with us this summer, trying to build really meaningful freshman and transfer student and all student orientations next week on Mondays and Tuesdays. They will kind of lead us in providing spiritual direction every day and helping Mr. Chung with the daily gospel readings, talks and connections to this type of stuff. So you'll see how we kind of shift our focus here from month to month, but this is something that we use really as our character education throughout the year, the spiritual works of mercy. Service hour requirements up there, 10 hours minimum per semester. We talk about service to the community, if not every day, every few days. I'm constantly given opportunities for students to involve themselves in the community, whether that be at the parish, with our school, or certainly out in the community of Easton and Talbot County itself. We get tons of service opportunities that the students are given or mentioned to students every day, so please encourage them to take those on. Sometimes I will also right arrow message those service opportunities out as well. They kind of turn their service requirements into their theology teachers, who then get them from Mr. Chung. So we keep records of those theology service hours. Each class does a retreat, culminating with the senior retreat, which is like a nice stayover retreat. The rest of them are daily. For that matter of fact, we had a retreat today. We just got back from the National Basilica and the Franciscan Monastery and spent the day there going to mass, studying, getting tours and stuff. So our faculty retreat just concluded as well. But I'll leave that up here for just a minute for you to look at it before I move on. All right, our accreditation process for middle states. We hit our midterm accreditation indicators. I think it was last October. I sent in the report, and our teachers are making great progress in those committees with community representatives as well as student representation. Our first committee for student performance objectives for the AP scores, making massive improvements in that realm. We had a great year again in July. AP scores came out and our students did stellar, particularly in some of the mathematics subjects like AB and BC calculus. We have students taking AP classes in art as well, biology, English, history. So again, just trying to make sure that we inform kids to make sure they make educated decisions and not overburden their schedule with AP classes, but finding the right balance to take and challenge themselves via AP, and also best classroom practices. Our AP teachers meet regularly to talk about how to use resources that they find on their My AP Classroom websites and whatnot, using the practice test items, et cetera, to drive AP growth over time. And again, a full accreditation process is going to come until 2728. Again, that learning differences program, we've had this green now, this was from second year. We're looking at just adapting the curriculum with minor accommodations in a college preparatory setting. We'll continue to expand on those accommodations, as well as trying to kind of embed strategic which classes this green can help in with the teachers as well. So a lot of this is accommodations in the general education setting, and it's not like a small classroom environment for an entire period. We're looking to refine our curriculum just by creating a common template, which we've identified that we want to use to put our standards and objectives into. So the teachers will be working in departments this summer, or not this summer, this fall, as we get into the school year to just kind of build that Google Drive full of all their curriculum, so it'll look in a similar fashion from subject to subject to subject. And then our marketing objective, just for communication and marketing, again, collaborating with our art teacher, myself, my administrative team, Ms. Power Lars, improving the website, improving how we communicate, setting more bright arrows. The s'mores was a step in that direction, use of social media to advertise, et cetera. Just trying to grow our school and our footprint in our local community and get more great kids to attend here as part of our middle states process as well. So those are kind of the accreditation factors that we look at throughout the year, and we meet on a quarterly basis. And again, the committee meetings will happen on those 2-hour delay schedules. Thank you, Mr. Chung. All right, important update here, okay? Schoology is the online classroom portal where teachers are expected to upload as they're working this week their syllabi. They should have like folders for each unit to organize assignments and upload the assignments in. They could put links, use the announcements page in the front of that to remind kids of tests and quizzes coming up. Do not rely on Schoology to check grades, okay? We've instructed the teachers now in year 2 and it worked very well last year. Grades officially are stored in PowerSchool, and each parent has unique parent instructions to get into their child and access PowerSchool. So again, if you could check that on a regular basis, that certainly helps us out. We are encouraging our teachers this year for students that have D's or F's. They should be emailing you at the end of the week just to give you a brief update to let you know that. But the more that our teachers communicate with you and you're checking PowerSchool for grades, the better off will be. Again, as I met with student leaders this summer to refine what we do for the orientation on Monday, a lot of them recommended, like, they're going to stress this for our young students. You need to check PowerSchool. You need to have the password scan in one specific spot. And they reported at least twice a week, students should be checking PowerSchool themselves. And then following checking PowerSchool, identifying where weaknesses may lie or where there's a gap or something might be missing, and then being proactive and going to talk to their teachers and have conversations to remedy that situation. Go ahead. Thanks, Mr. Chung. AI policy, one of the challenges that we have that we're looking to get better at, and we kind of talk about, sharing with students, what does good AI look like and what does bad AI usage look like? To sum it up, anything that requires your own independent thought, you should be not using AI, right? If you're using AI to brainstorm some and then closing it and putting your own thoughts down, that's one thing. But if you're replacing the hard work or your own independent critical thinking and thought with AI, then really that's kind of the same lines as plagiarism. So did you replace the work with AI, or did it assist you in generating ideas to create your own authentic work? Certainly being transparent is something we're going to have to work on and talking to teachers ahead of time, citing AI when you do use it after you talk to the teacher about the AI. We're going to have plenty of conversations with our students. And, again, talking to senior leaders in the building, like it makes sense to us, like, if you eventually, this, you're going to have to sit down and write a paper in like an old school blue book paper that we were all used to when we got graded on essays, right? So they need to prepare for that when the time comes, whether that be in this building, in the future in college, etc. It's almost like if you went to run a marathon and you just kidded yourself and walked a little or barely ran 2 miles, you're not going to be prepared to run that marathon. And the same analogy, if we're constantly trying to rely on AI, then our writing is not going to get better when the time comes to show our best work. So we will be proactive in having these conversations with kids, telling them again to talk to the teacher when in doubt and have honest conversations with our wonderful faculty members who will help them and guide them along in this process, but not trying to use AI to cover their own independent thought. So you can look at the consequences here. That would just be, if it is used and we find that, we're going to look at which AI checker is the best and most reliable. That's PD that we're going to have in conversations we'll have as a faculty in the future. First offense is the 0 grade and then a parent notification and detention. That would be a private detention with the teachers. If it goes beyond that, there'd be documented detentions or suspensions in PowerSchool with a 0 grade. And again, we'll communicate with parents whenever possible. And hopefully we never get to any of the third offenses. Yep. All right. Eligibility policy, something that we had to kind of clean up when I first got here because I found that students were kind of finding loopholes in the handbook. They would keep their grades up to a certain level when they were playing the sport, and then maybe the spring hits, that sport ended. We had issues with total points averages looking at graduation in the near future. So students have to pass all their classes in this school. We take academics as the main thing. It is the main thing along with our faith. We love our sports. They thrive here. Athletics won 6 championships last year, and we are able to keep a lot of kids eligible throughout the year, just, again, reinforcing the expectations that we have to communicate with us, communicate with teachers, etc. But at the interim point in the quarter, Ms. King and I will do a check. We will identify any kid who has a 64% or lower in all courses and have a conversation with that kid as soon as possible that day. We'll have some action steps or items that they can work on to fix that grade. encourage them to go have conversations with their teachers, highlight the assignments that they might be missing. So we will conference with them and be proactive in trying to get them eligible again. Again, you should see this year as a point of improvement from some of the survey feedback that we got from the diocese from parents. Our teachers need to communicate a little more when students aren't doing well academically. So on Fridays, I've asked them to send a quick email home for any student who has a year and F along with some missing assignments included in the email. So after we conference with the students, they're required to then find times and we can help them if they're young, go talk to a teacher. I'll go with them certainly, facilitate the conversation the first time. I'm happy to do that. Once they meet with the teacher and do some work to catch up before or after school, the following end of the work week, usually on a Friday, but if we have Friday off, it'd be Thursday, we will rerun that report. And if the kid gets themselves off of that F list, 65% or higher, we will go personally tell them that they're not eligible and clear to resume extracurricular activities, whether that be the play in the fall or fall sports. If you had an emergency circumstance, like let's say you had to miss 5 days because a family funeral happened and you traveled to California and that happened at the worst time possible academically, you could use 2 waivers throughout your school career for legitimate reasons to help your grade. You still want to meet with the teachers, find time to meet, but still be eligible to participate in athletics. Now, if we find that the kid just blew off 3 assignments and never talked to the teacher or something, the waiver is not going to be approved. But for legitimate reasons, we will grant some waivers and compassion and whatnot. If you're sick for that matter, let's say you're out for 3 days, students then reported 3 days in the handbook to make up that work when they get back. So deadlines are deadlines here for small assignments. We expect kids to show up. If the teacher gives, an X amount of math problems on a Tuesday, and she expects to go over them Thursday morning when they have class, kids are expected to learn from that material, take care of independent study habits, get their homework done on time. But our teachers will also be compassionate and understanding and be role models in our face when kids do have setbacks to help them get back on track. So try to find that happy medium, do not encourage mediocrity, to have high standards for academic performance, but also meet kids where they're at and help them when they need it.
8-minute warning.
8 minutes? Okay, we're good. Renaissance testing, that is our standardized norm-based test. I'll try to rush a little here. But it's in literacy and math. If you could please help us out in that respect, talking to your students about how important this is. We're looking at some really good distinctions for this school, and it requires us to be in the top 10 to 15% nationwide, and we're making strides to get there. We started my first year in year 1 implementing it, and we did pretty well, and then by the spring, our motivation might have changed a little, and we kind of tanked with our scores in the spring. Last year, for the majority of our students, we had growth over time. The test will measure not only a raw score for proficiency in reading and math, but it also looks at where you started relative to peers your age, and then how much you're growing and shows an expected growth and whatnot. We will nail those score reports home. We did really, really well last year. I'm proud of the progress our kids have made. And again, I like it because it's not just looking at Maryland students to Maryland students. This is the nationwide thing. And again, the better we do on it, we're at the top of the diocese right now. I expect us to continue that way. And we just want to continue to improve over time. Basically, it's going to show you the data here in a second when Mr. Chunk clicks. It's going to show you proficiency at or above exceeding grade level. So that's where we're at right now from last year in math and reading. Again, looking to how do our teachers get PD on Mondays after school to make this, to analyze the data. We're making connections to use that testing data and some of the critical skills and components that the testing reports give us to identify what we do for mini lessons in the classroom. So there's classroom curricular connections. And again, I think it just says a lot about our kids and their study habits by how well they perform on these tests. If you look at some schools in our surrounding area, they would have nowhere near 93% of the kids reading at or above grade level. So that's the kind of environment that your sons and daughters will be surrounded by. Talented kids who work hard, who are humble. And I tell prospective parents all the time, we have the best kids in the world in this building. I love them. We can't wait to get them back. We're excited to have kids back in the building and that energy and enthusiasm and pride for our school. So the more you can help us encouraging your kids to do well on that, the better. Yep. Taking a look at extracurriculars real quick. Growing a lot. We started about 7 or so clubs last year. We offer a ton of sports for only having less than 200 kids in the building, and we won 6 conference championships in 2024, 2025. looking to build on that success with a tremendous senior group of student athlete leaders in this building to help out the younger kids, show them the way. And again, we have conversations about excellence all the time in this building. When I show up to games, I want to see our kids supporting each other unconditionally. I want to see them be loud and raucous for cheering for us, who won't be us. Our expectation is we will never single out the refs and get on their case. We will never single out individual players and other opponents. We're going to worry about supporting ourselves as Sabres, and our kids do a really good job of it. You'll see showing up for some key playoff type stuff after school in the fall even. Our kids get after it, they get excited, and they really do an outstanding job supporting one another. During the play last fall, the whole hockey team showed up in uniforms and sat somewhere near the front here with me and watched the play. So just a really united student body that I couldn't be more grateful for. Go ahead, Mr. Chung. All right, we're getting right to the end here, just in the nick of time. Just taking a look at our schedule-wide landscape to start the year. We're excited to welcome the freshmen back with some student ownership of that orientation day by student leaders. On the all-student orientation day, the next day, I've requested for students to wear their uniforms to school that day because we have a guest speaker on mindsets, a lot of the same stuff that we've read in the Black Book. This guy kind of mentions, his name is Dr. Gary Sprouse. He's a local guy, he's a psychologist. He was preparing for a TED Talk when he came and met with us. Just a real inspiring guy to talk about positive mindsets, having an attitude of gratitude, how we treat one another matters in the building, and how you shift, your mindset can make all the difference in the world in your success in mind, body, and spirit. We're excited for that assembly. There's a 4-hour section which means an early dismissal on 8:29, and then I'll let you finish the rest. Where's our first match day? 9:05, soon match at 8:30. Just something to emphasize here and making sure we have the blazer and the coat and tie and all that ready because we don't wear those clothes in the warm quarter. Homecoming week. No one does homecoming like the Sabres. If you're a freshman parent or a new parent, you're going to be so impressed with homecoming. The kids really take it seriously. They dress up every day. They do skits at lunch for spirit points. And we collie those up at the end of the week, and it gets kind of intense and stuff. And the great pep rally. We have 4 games at home on 10-4 or 10-3 on this Friday. So please come out and support, come out to the food trucks out, etc. We're trying to grow homecoming here and make it something special and build alumni connections to get them back in the building soon here too. So kind of our first quarter at a glance. The Sabre Athletic Association, if you could, we're really looking for volunteers. They do some great stuff. If you've ever been to the Bull and Oyster Roast, it kind of almost feels like you walked into like that old TV show Friday Night Lights. It's really special. There's a band and community members and parishioners are out along with parents and faculty. We certainly need help for concessions and especially for that Bull and Oyster Roast. So please reach out to Mr. Davis. Ms. Nicolopoulos, one of our parents, is out at the table right here for the golf scramble. Please go see her outside. She's got to sign up for volunteers as well. Again, we really need some help with our Sabre Athletic Association, who's done a lot to grow this campus, to grow school pride, to get our new trophy case here is part because of the great work that we did with the Bull and Oyster Roast. So please visit her. Post-prom committee is predominantly a group of junior parents who set it up for the senior and junior prom, and then it's kind of almost like a pay it forward. We have a group of now senior parents who are willing to talk to some junior parents, kind of show them the way. It's an amazing party after prom, substance free, right? And this on the gym with all sorts of fun activities. So that's a great way to get involved as well. Go ahead, Mr. Chung. I will email out this whole presentation. More ways parents can help here as I have 1 minute left. I'll let you know. Certainly, again, the school uniform thing, if you could check shirt length and shoes, that would really help us out. Checking the school newsletter, supporting all the goals of the school as we strive to grow in mind, body, and spirit. Golf tournament flyers are outside, but there's a QR code there as well. Go ahead, Mr. John. Resources, there's a calendar summary, which I sent out several times, and I can send out again with key dates. The live Google Calendar for the school is linked directly to the school website. The student parent handbook we can set out again, but that's got all our school policies, regulations, consequences, etc. And I think that's, Mr. Chung, I think that's the last slide, right?
Yeah.
More? There we go, yeah. If there's an issue with communication, and again, I'm going to send this out, you can click that we'll check on email addresses to make sure they're in the system, but whatever you put into fax, that's what goes to Power School, which goes to Bright Arrow.
One more.
One more. And then lastly, if you have any questions, because I know there's people online, please access the link. You can scan the QR code. You can submit a Google form question if you're remote right now. That way we can look at those questions later and send a response back to you to answer the question. So, with that being said, are there any questions in the audience in front of me that I can try to answer now? Yes, ma'am.
On mass days, the
Yes.
children go straight to the church because they just.
They can drop their book bags off. Usually they walk in, say hello, and then like walk out with their friends right to mass. But if it's like 8:26 or something, we have kids pulled through the church and get in a hurry. So great question though, yeah. And we'll talk, like, I will remind them being early is on time 4 or 5 different times before the first mass. So they'll hear it from me a lot. Thank you. Other questions? Yes. That's like DCP or county-wide stuff. We would call them and work with them. Yep. Correct. And then the Sabre bus, that's part of our school service is to run the Sabre bus. We want the kids from the elementary school to get off and be directly on their campus, and then allow the older kids to get on the Sabre bus for a month. So, yeah. Other questions? Happy to help answer.
So
Yeah.
the public transportation, all of them drop off at the elementary school every morning?
Correct.
Okay.
On regular school days with regular bell schedules, they drop off there, and then at about, is it 2:55 the bus leaves? Yeah, at 2:55, the bus will, so the kids gotta know also, that's a great point. They'll get dismissed just a few minutes early to make sure they're on the Sabre bus to go back to the elementary campus to then get on the county ride stuff with the DCT bus.
It doesn't matter what they're using, all of them drop off at the.
Correct, yeah, consistently it's at the elementary
Okay.
campus. Good question, thank you. In the back, yeah. Yeah, it's during school hours except the senior retreat, which is, Mr. Chung, is it 2 days, right? One night over. The senior retreat is 2 days. The rest of them are like, you leave maybe a little before the start of the bell, to be honest. They might head out at 8 o'clock, but they usually get back by about 3. You're welcome. Yeah. Those are great fun days. And again, the senior one's really awesome. So, yeah. Incoming freshman class is at 40 right now. Yeah, we'd like it to be a little bigger, but it's right around, our sophomore class is actually, I believe it's 56. 57. So, yeah, we have 40 in the incoming freshman class. Yes, sir.
When and where will the senior retreat be?
It's on the master calendar. Mr. Chung, did you hear that question? You might be able to know right away off the top of your head. The senior retreat, do you know the date? October, okay. And is it at Camp Potomac again? Seniors. Okay. And that's the October date you just gave, right? There you go. And when in doubt, if you just look at the master calendar, you can find it there for reference as well, so. Yes. Yep, that's kind of part of the theology curriculum. So they have like a log and reflection stuff. The theology teachers go over that with them when they have their semester theology courses. And then if they have any questions about like literal service opportunities, again, after prayer and the pledge, at least once a week, if not a couple to 3 times a week, I'm up here like, hey, Talbot Humane Society emailed me this morning. I need 6 volunteers to go do this on a Saturday. Or there's a 5K in Dorchester. If our students wear uniforms and run, you'll get service hours / it's getting donations for blank. So I just get like from many different directions, emails, phone calls, etc. And we use morning meetings to share those. And then I'll tell kids, if you're interested, hang tight for a minute at the end of morning meeting and I can get you more information. So, yeah. They dress out for gym. You can wear what you want. So like, yes, you would wear sneakers and shorts and a t-shirt or sweatshirt. There's not like an official old school gym uniform that's like a PE shirt with a space in the middle to write your name on. Most kids just wear like their Sabre lacrosse, basketball, whatever, like Nike or Adidas or Under Armour clothes. Any other questions? All right, well, not too bad. Thank you for your time. If you have any, I'll stay after for a few minutes. I really appreciate y'all coming out today. And again, I can't be prouder of our students, especially. We are eager to welcome them back. This is a great place. We have outstanding upperclassmen leaders that will embrace the young students and make sure they're a part of this community. It takes a village here, from our admin team to our faculty, but even to the kids, to make this place thrive. And I think our kids get that. And we will help our freshmen quickly get that learning curve and be a part of who we are. And by homecoming, they're going to love it here, let alone hopefully the first week of school. So thank you so much. Thank you for your time and have a great evening. I look forward to the kids coming back. Okay. I know, I was like, man, I'm gonna run. Just barely.